Ladies and gentlemen, ATDF everything in that shelf presentation. You're now rocking with TDF everything. Spoiled rotten.
Spoiler alert.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hey.
It's me, Daniel,
And this is Ben
on Spoiled Rotten.
on that shelf.
Boom. We're doing Peacemaker, Chapter 7, Stop Dragging My Heart
Stop dragging my heart.
Around.
That's a Nikki Sixx song, right? Or
I don't know any type of music like that. I would just say, yep. And then if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't know. But I don't know. I'm not good with that genre of music. It's not that I think it's bad or anything. I don't know the big players or even the like mid-level cuts. I'm just kind of like, yep, cool.
Yep. It's like, cool. I know I'm listening to ABBA something.
Yeah. So some stuff I wanted to have happen. Some other stuff was a bit murky for me, but basically, this episode opens with the full scene of Peacemaker's brothers dying. They were in some bare knuckle brawling thing where people bet on kids fighting.
God, man, that's just disgusting
Wild.
to me.
Yeah.
Like when I saw that full scene, I'm like, oh, this is what happened. It wasn't just like, oh, we're play fighting. It was like, no, you're egged
it was like
on.
the dad had orchestrated something where they were going to have to fight each other.
Yeah, I guess that was like their kind of version of entertainment, I guess, right? Which is messed up. I can't, but Jesus.
Yeah, no, it was worse than we thought.
Yeah, no wonder he's got trauma about that. Like, and I'm the way that scene and he acted that. Like, I'm giving full props to Cena. He's like selling that to me, that he really had that trauma. You know, yeah. I think he's doing a good job.
Or even the kid, like the kid playing not quite understanding what was going on. Like, say, oh, he's doing the worm. Just, I'm assuming they do that to really build up. That's his loss of innocence. But like, I thought it was an interesting choice, maybe not from the actor, but just to add that bit in there because it's like he's not scared yet. He didn't know enough to be scared yet because this is all fun for him.
Yeah, it's the idea of consequence obviously has not been taught to him. It didn't seem like his father was interested in teaching the idea of consequence of like, oh, if you hit someone, they might die.
His father had nothing but disdain for him.
Oh God, yeah. It's like he was tolerating the younger Peacemaker just because the older son was around. And I don't know if there's anything like about Peacemaker as a child that he full on resented. It seemed like everything later on that he talks about, like, oh, this is what's wrong with you, this is why you're unclean or whatever, has nothing to do with anything he did as a kid. You know what I mean?
Unless, I mean, the dad's dead, so I don't know if we're gonna find out that maybe the mom not being in the picture is Peacemaker's fault, or it isn't, obviously, but that's how the dad frames it in his mind.
I'd like to think that it's because he's a white supremacist asshole that the wife leaves. I'd like to think.
I'm just saying, but that whatever he's built up in his head, I would imagine, I'm thinking it's around that.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Regardless of what the actual reason is.
I see what you're saying. It doesn't matter what the actual reason is. He's just blaming him for it. He's the scapegoat. I see. Yeah. Good call. Because that's definitely what it seems like he's using his kid for. Is messed up.
Or it could just simply be like, oh, I don't want him to be this thoughtful and sensitive, and I don't like that. It makes me feel insecure. So I'm just gonna take it out on him.
Yeah.
Probably that more than the first thing I said.
I think it's probably that. I mean, come to think about it, their idea of masculinity between the both of them is very, very toxic, but between the father, much more toxic, right? It's the idea, it's not only male toxicity, it's the idea of like, now we have racism and misogyny layered in here. Versus like Peacemaker, he doesn't have it to that degree as a malice act. It's more like, I'm a bully and I'm making fun of everyone. and I like to make jokes. And that's terrible, but he's not leading a white supremacist group to that degree. And it's
but up until
yeah.
this episode, he stood by a white supremacist. So
yes, he was very, very adjacent to
much. He was very much willing to benefit from a white supremacist.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that's not lost on people. Anyway, the next seed is Peacemaker and Vigilante. There is some jokes, but the ultimate reason for the scene is for them and Economist to leave and go try and kill the cow.
Yeah,
it's basically. I know they do the joke about the diary and all that, but he's kind of just like, whatever, man, it doesn't matter anymore. Let's just go kill this cow.
Yeah. I like that joke where it's like, does it look like I would be the person with the diary drawing all this kind of stuff? And Economist is like, originally no, but now that I've met you, it actually makes a lot more sense. Like, usually it's the other way around. It's usually like, originally when I met you, yeah, but now like there's no way. And for him to reverse that, I'm like, this is hilarious.
Just acknowledging, like, I mean, you got a lot going on. I could actually see you having a diary.
And it's like, you haven't been kind to me, so I have no reason to cover that up right now. It's like, you keep calling me Diebeard up until the last episode.
Oh, I don't think that's what he was saying. I think
he was saying that, like,
yeah, obviously on the surface, ostensibly you are the type of person that would never have a diary, but actually knowing you now, you probably could have a diary.
Yeah, I like that little bit where he's like, really, like, you think the scrapbooking was okay? Because I like the scrapbook or something like that. He says something like that, and I'm like, that was really funny. He just threw that in.
It was some good stuff there. But yeah, they're off to go kill the cow.
Yep.
Which is going to cause its own issues. And we have Harcourt. She's confronting Adebayo.
Yes. And that scene proves it all. You're right. She knew exactly what she's doing. Master manipulator, just everything on the line. And this being like, I wasn't built for this. I used to be a vet manager, like whatever, like pet shelter
thing.
that
it more muddies the water for me because she's playing it still like, oh, like I don't know what I'm doing. I think there's room in terms of what is said for me to believe I'm right, that that Harcourt was saying, like, I knew you were like doing something, like you were. And initially the scene starts with Adebayo having a lot more animosity, as in like, back the hell off, like you don't know who you're messing with, and even being like, you've been on my ass the whole time, it's been really hard for me to operate the way I want to operate. But then it still kind of ends in a way where I guess people who believe this is the story of, again, her storyline is about just realizing that it's dangerous to act this way. I think it's more what I was saying last episode, that like she's good at getting people to do what she wants them to do, but this job actually forces her to do stuff herself, which she doesn't really want, to get blood on her hands that way. And I do believe that she doesn't like the whole calculus thing she talked about, like the idea that if you're trying to figure out what's right and wrong in this business, it requires a bunch of advanced calculus that she doesn't really want to do.
Because Harcourt's morality and ethics in this, to divide good or bad, is whether or not people are fighting alongside you, right? And that's very, very clear. I mean, like, you look at Myrn, you look at Economos, it's like a soldier kind of thing, and that's what she describes it as.
A fellow soldier. And I get it. Like, if you are going to turn on the people that are working with you, then what's the point? I get how I was kind of on Harcourt's side for that. I get the Adebayo response of like, so killing someone's okay, but like this is wrong to you. And I'm like, if I'm Harcourt, I would double down on that. Like, it's wrong for you to screw over the people we're working with.
It's because she's coming at, and this is ultimately what I see Adebayo really, really good at, is being a manipulator, but using innocence and that naivety to be able to do it. Like you pointed out, like, oh, like she gets other people to do her things for her, like Harcourt doing the kill, or getting Peacemaker to do whatever, so that she could slide in the diary. Like, ultimately at the end of the day, she was like, I apologize for that, I was wrong, someone fix my mistake. but I still did it. And then she was like, I have the ability to wash that away because in my mind, it didn't actually go to
Mm-hmm.
the finale that was going to go to, but now it does. And she's crashing, she's losing that innocence, and she's realizing she can't manipulate people with that innocence anymore because she's been found out by Harcourt, right? Harcourt
Mm-hmm.
was right to suspect her the entire time because she was even said something a few episodes ago, like, what are your background skills? Like, and questioning the training that she went through. It's like
Well, no,
everyone
she
could do
just
that
provided
training.
what training, and then she was like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
like, yeah, you just said it." That she was like, "Well, that's nothing. Like everyone does that,"
yeah, that's like a handgun safety course or something like that.
which I thought was still part of the manipulation.
Mhm.
Because like the shot she took on Judo Master was not like sloppy.
No, it wasn't.
So I thought that was her giving enough information for people to think like, oh, that's clearly what she actually gave me all the information I need. I think, and maybe I'll be approved wrong, but my assumption is she's better at this than she's letting on. It's just, yeah, she would rather not be doing it. This was just something she could do because it was like, well, yeah, I need the money.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like she's good at manipulating people if she can maintain her own innocence in her own
Mhm.
perspective. Like, hey, I'm not the bad guy here. I was trying to defend you, and you took the shot first. Now she can't be because she actively did something,
Mhm.
and now she's got to reconcile with it, and she's like really having a hard time. And I like this scene. I really, really do.
I do like the conversation, and it brings me back to when she was talking about her dog. Even like when she's like, "Oh no, he likes dressing up," and she's like, "No, he or Harcourt said no, he likes the attention you give him." It's not
Yep.
like the thing, and I was like, I felt like that was a nice microcosm of what she does. Like, she obviously knows she just wants to put the outfits on, but if she can tell people, "Oh no, he loves it, he loves it," it's like, yeah, you're not, you know. And Harcourt specifically said he's willing to humiliate himself for the
Mhm.
attention.
Yep.
And so it's I feel like that's all building up that she knows what she's doing. She just likes to sell it as, oh, just an innocent, oh, he likes to do it, so I do it for him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think most people that play that vulnerable card to innocence or whatever, overplay it, they do know what they're doing because they know what the
Mhm.
desired result is. They're just really good at telling a different narrative story, or omitting elements of the truth that are more true than what they're leading on, right? To your point, like with the hardcore thing, yeah, it's the attention, not the outfits, because the dog doesn't know anything about the outfit other than it's on me
Or the
and
dog
it makes
might
me feel
actively
warm.
dislike the outfit. He's just like, well, at least I get the attention, because I know my dog does not like outfits.
From what I've seen from most dogs, they do not like outfits.
Yeah.
So I just, whenever I see outfits on dogs and people walking them, I'm like, this is so much for you. It's so for you. If it's not a winter or a rain jacket, it's
Mhm.
it's just I walk the other way.
Yeah.
Can't deal with it.
Well, yeah, so Myrn walks in, and
Mm.
it's kind of like the Harcourt scene from last episode where he's like, yeah, I know, she's of course I looked into it, of course she's Waller's daughter, and like, of course she planted the thing. I like that he's like, she probably should have waited until we accomplished the mission, but I guess we'll have to figure it out from here.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that. It's like, what, you think I would start the mission without doing background check? And I'm like,
um
why didn't the hardcore do that? That was such a big flaw. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, she's not the point person, so
It's
that
true.
makes sense to me. That
Right.
that makes sense that she's like, this is the detail. She already knows economists, and she already knew like, oh, this is my punishment. Like this is
Mm,
um but yeah, I don't think that would be her thing. I think she's good at figuring things out in real time, but I don't know if
true.
she's like,
Does the research or does the
I
homework
mean, I
assignment?
shouldn't say she doesn't do the research, but I should say that my assumption is she likes to read people in person.
Yeah. Oh, she relies more on her own assessment.
Yeah, like she gets to meet the person and then make her decision,
I agree.
which has
Because
worked out for her so far.
yeah, because she does the assignment, right? She's like that one scene with Peacemaker in the bar. She talks about like the file that was written up
Right, like
about
she got
him.
a file, but obviously
Yeah, and that
Adebayo's
he,
file wouldn't be like, also she's Amanda Waller's. So
yeah.
she'll read the dossier, but it's not like she's like gonna do extra stuff until she meets the person.
Mhm, mhm.
I think
Yeah.
so. This isn't to say, oh, she's not as smart as Myrn. It's more just like, yeah, like he's the leader, so he's and Myrn as a butterfly also has more at stake, so he would go an extra mile to be like, can I actually trust these people?
Right.
Next, I know it kind of happens interspersed, but basically it's the judo master getting the car. I liked that he like the people underestimating again, calling him the Lucky Charms mascot, and then he beats them up.
He beats
like
him up.
The store owner is just kind of like gives him the thumbs up, like, good for you, man.
Yeah, that was awesome. It's good for you. Like, those guys were jackasses. I wanted them to get hit. The fact that you did that in such a cool way, I'm into it. Yeah, I like that store a lot because I like when
good stuff.
People get their comeuppance. I like that. Has he done that same mockery thing where he just raises his arms to the side and does that thing again? He's done that twice, right?
I don't know. I took that as him mocking them when they did that to him.
Oh, he definitely did. But I'm like, I thought I've seen him do that before in the series. It's not important. I just like, it's not a go-to insult, but the thing with the Cheetos is hilarious to me. I'm like, why? I want to see him flick more Cheetos.
I was really hoping he used the Cheetos, but then I was like, you know what? Just eat them. Yeah. You don't need to waste them.
Just eat them. Yeah.
Have a good time. Yeah. So then we finally see White Dragon in all his decked out glory, I guess, and his team. They catch up with Peacemaker, Vigilante, and Economist.
That was so. I mean, I called it that they were gonna have the showdown this episode, but I mean, like, the showdown went so stupidly, right? I'm like, sure, his suit's got powers and all that, but like, fundamentally, at the end of the day, he used his head or like his upper body to ram the side of a car. I'm like, he had blasters. Why didn't he use that? Like, he could have caused a head trauma or whatever to himself. It was just weird. He's just like, oh, I'm gonna fly spear into the truck.
Whatever. The only time I thought it was weird was when he ran into the woods with them, even though he had a jetpack and he could have gone up and seen where everything was.
I thought that was entirely weird too.
That's the only thing I thought was weird. Other than that, it's like, it's superhero show. Like, I don't. Yeah. Like, I'm not like worried someone's gonna get head trauma if they ram something, because I'm like, they must know they can.
Fair. Maybe, who knows? Maybe that helmet's got whatever. But I was just like, that was just weird. Either way, you're right though. Like, why? You've got technology. You've got to move faster than them. We
watched him fly into the scene, so it was weird to be like, well, I'm grounded now. And I'm like, well, no. Unless it was like, oh, he ran out of juice.
Well, and that wasn't evidently the case, because he still gets to use his jetpack in the fight later on. So I'm like,
then yeah,
there was no point. You're absolutely right. That was the dumbest thing in the world. And I'm just like, here's my thing with the hats. Okay, so the white supremacist hats, they're obviously not using KKK hoods, but the hoods that they're using, I would have liked a little bit of attention to practicality, because I'm like, those eye holes just look like they would shift all the time, and I'm like, if you're running around as a gang, that would serve just as such a big disadvantage, right? I mean, like, I don't know. That's just, that was me being like, that looks stupid. I'm giving it too much thought.
Yeah, again, it's a superhero show. Like, none of these superheroes look like they would have good eyesight with what they've got on their face.
That's true.
So I'm willing to forgive stuff like that. Like, that kind of stuff is like, yeah, I just have to buy in, or you don't have to. But for me, I'm just like, whatever. Like, I already saw Django make the joke, right? Like, when he's like, you didn't cut the eye holes properly. Like, it would seem like they were just copying that scene if they addressed it again. I just have to go like, yeah, they're doing that and it works for them. Because I would find it as a derailment if they actually got into that, because I'm like, well, yeah, I already saw this in Django.
Right. It's just the way this show goes. It's like the random conversations that happen while they're doing stuff. It's just, but at the same time, none of these white supremacists get that kind of attention. So
they do, because so Vigilante blows himself up with the whole no wrong time to rock thing.
Yep.
But then he steals their car and they're like, you kept the keys in the car. He's like, what? I was in a hurry. Like, they still get some of that jokey stuff.
True.
But yeah, I don't think it would be in good taste to give them too much of that. at this point. I think.
Oh, I completely
it's quite
agree.
clear what they are. So let's not do too many funny things with them.
I agree. I retract my statement. But yeah, they're doing the showdown.
So I guess we can just talk through the showdown. I know it's all interspersed, but we can just talk through it. Basically, they get away. There's a bunch of times they get away. Peacemaker uses the helmet on the raccoon once they realize that it's that's how they're tracking, and then they catch up with Vigilante, who stole the car but passed out because I'm assuming he had a concussion, and they're on their way, but then they realize, oh, Vigilante brought all of the helmets. And,
which, to be fair, his rationale was legit. I'm like, what? They looked expensive. I'm like, yeah, and it's his superhero stuff. It's just like that would make sense to. And then, but I liked when the moment it was like, it's in the trunk. My question is, why did he bother to go into the woods? Why didn't he just throw it out of the thing, leave everyone in the car, and just go again? Like, everyone just got out of the car. It was so weird.
I think it was ham-fisted, but they did give an explanation for everyone getting out of the car. Vigilante has to pee. Eagly gets out. Right. So he's like, hey, John, can you go get Eagly?
Right.
So that is the explanation. I agree with you that it's kind of like, well, all right. But it leads to the proper showdown of White Dragon. As you said, White Dragon mentions a bunch of reasons why he doesn't like Peacemaker, which all seem like they would be attached to him as an adult, or at the very least teenage years. But the point is, he doesn't like him. It doesn't really. I don't think it really matters.
It doesn't matter, but it's just like
the reasons he gave couldn't be attached to like. And I knew this from a baby. It's kind of like, well, you would have lived with him for a bit before these things started to come out.
And like the one thing I found interesting was like both the brothers liked the hair metal music. And then the father was like, and your love of that, like, I'm not going to say it because I hate that word. But
we all know what you're.
But he's like,
people watch the episode
describing the music, and I'm like, but your other son that you loved that music too. And I just feel like he's just now being like, I'm justifying everything to throw at you or something like that. I
would say this: there's no evidence of him loving the other son. There's only showing that he is using the dead son who can't speak up or say anything about it as a counterpoint. So I think that's just more the mental warfare he's playing.
Right. So you think like either son, he was still trying to get them to prove themselves to him, like, which is the stronger son. And okay, I see what you're saying.
He might not have liked Peacemaker more than he didn't like the other son, but I think I could be wrong. I don't remember seeing anything of him showing any real preferential treatment to the other son. You only ever really see the other son with Peacemaker. I
thought there was a few the flashbacks from Peacemaker's point of view where he was praising the other son a little bit more.
Peacemaker, not that he was talking to the other son. He was only ever telling Peacemaker, I like your brother better.
Yes, but there was like little small things like, I will touch this son and not touch Peacemaker or something like that. Again, like small subtle things. But
again,
I'd be reading into that a lot.
As a show to Peacemaker, that was always like, and the damage that does to the other son is still palpable because now it's like, oh my goodness, like what do I do to help my brother? Like if he's gonna keep doing like you hear about that all the time with the Jackson 5 or people like Macaulay Culkin, like anybody who has abusive parents. Like, it's not good just because you're the like kid that the parent likes in quotation marks. Because it's forcing you to grow up a bit faster and figure out ways to mitigate issues. But yeah, I could be wrong, but I don't know that he actually proved that he liked the other kid better. It's just it was always to put Peacemaker down.
I think so. I think I would agree with that. Yeah, and if he did like the other one better, it's just like, what kind of like is he expressing right now? It's something that certainly I don't think you or I would be able to identify with. But he just because he says it, Doesn't mean it's true or healthy
Mhm.
of a love. But you're absolutely right. There's nothing that we've seen so far that really indicates that he did love the other son much, much better. He just says, like, you killed him. I loved him and you killed
Mhm.
him. And that's it. I'm like, okay. Understand that you would freak out understandably if your son's dead, but
Yeah.
whether or not that's a true
But
statement,
the way he immediately centers it on
himself. Yeah.
no, I meant like that it's like Peacemaker's fault. Like immediately he goes to that. Like you
Yeah.
piece of shit, you killed your brother. Like there's no real mourning of the son. It's kind of just like immediately anger towards Peacemaker, which he already there, but
Yep.
he's thing. But yeah, it is messed up, and I'm glad he's dead.
It should be noted now that Vigilante with that bomb thing got to cut the carotid connection of the electrical suit part, right?
He found the weak spot, or not found. He exploited the weak spots, and which, as you said, took out the power from the suit, so he wasn't able to do the blast, and that gave Peacemaker time to get up and shoot him in the head.
Yeah, it's that was not how I thought that was going to go down. I did not think he was going to shoot him and kill him. I legit thought they were going to get away or something was going to happen. Man, the fact that they just stopped it, and the last words too that he said before he actually shot him was like, I won't ever go away until you kill me. I'm like, yes, that is true. He's terror. He's a monster. He's a white supremacist. He will not go away until it dies. And the fact that Peacemaker finally got that is just like, that scene was everything. And then you have the vigilantes like, dude, it's a weird time to be doing your face exercises.
I liked the scene. The only thing that made me worry was like, I mean, that's kind of the whole point of the show. He did it.
Yeah.
He metaphorically and literally killed off that part that has held him back from being the good guy he wants to be. Because tied into his dad is the misogyny and the racism. So like if he's able to, again, metaphorically kill that off by disavowing it and then literally killing the dad, because as the dad said, like this is what I like about the show, is that it is pushing you. Obviously, I hope people understand this isn't me being like, so go kill every racist person, but the idea of actually shutting that off from your life and like going through the pain of being like, just because this person has this relationship with me, their beliefs are so bad that I need to, like, it will be a painful death in a way of that. And because we're in a superhero thing, it can be heightened to actually killing. And again, I'm not saying like, so yeah, just go out and kill a bunch of it, but it is making people not feel comfortable being racist, misogynist, all of that stuff in your presence, and actually shutting it down, like doing something active to shut it down, not just being like, well, I'm not like that. But and so as I said, that my issue is like, do I really care about the cow after that if what I saw as the whole point of this show is kind of got resolved?
Right. That's one of the biggest concerns that I wanted to express last time before the internet cut out, was that if I was right about this episode being the showdown with a dad, I don't know, because you and I were clearly more sold on this show for the commentary and how it's dealing with the racist narrative part. But now to kill off the cow with just what we have is, I guess, a classic James Gunn like all out final battle, which is going to be visually great. But you're right, to us, the point of the show is basically over. He is able to be a better person. He admitted to hardcore.
You just get to see him do the hero stuff, like be a hero, because obviously the work's not done just because you shut that off. So there is still more to do.
You're not a good person just because you called someone racist in your life that's racist and cut them off. You're not a good person yet. You still got to do the further stuff. But I mean, like, this stuff is just killing a cow. It's not killing racism more. He's not chasing down racists.
That is my concern, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's just it's the same kind of fear we had, or I had, for Last Jedi and No Way Home, where it's kind of like, seems like you really resolved everything. Now to go back at it again would be like, you might be undoing some stuff that you tied up neatly.
Yeah, I hear you.
But like, it's a TV show, like it's fine, and they said they've got a second season coming, so we'll see how that goes. I guess I would be more interested in the second season, because then it can be a different thing. This story seems like it's done. The extra it would feel like an extra episode, or it has the potential to feel like just an extra episode, as opposed to actually tying things up for me. But I haven't seen the episode yet, so
yeah,
I could be proven very wrong, and I hope I am.
Yeah, and to be fair, I am fully recognizing, for myself at least, I'm like, the biggest compelling factor of this show was how they handled the stuff with the racism and all that kind of stuff, right? So to me, that was my biggest hook into the show. And to me, now that they've resolved that, the cow killing is gonna only seem like a just fun showdown. And of course, the rise of Harcourt as team leader, which is, what everyone saw coming. Yeah,
we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I just have to go through my notes now. Yeah, basically we can do the song, like detective song stuff, or butterfly song stuff now, which is she gets to the, I guess, hotel motel that they're in.
Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
I had to.
She gets there. There is a bunch of stuff that happens, but ultimately the important part of what happens is that she shoots Mern, because she's like, what did you do? And he's like, I'm not gonna, and she doesn't even let him finish. Shoots him, the butterfly gets out, and she crushes the butterfly. And I think that's a moment where the other butterflies are kind of like, what's wrong with you?
What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Can't kill one of our own.
Yeah,
that's not what we're here for. We're here to take over this planet, not kill each other.
They move on, but it is interesting that then Harcourt and Adebayo come back in, and Harcourt has like a genuine moment with the dying butterfly.
Yeah. I thought that was a good scene. It made me not respect the butterflies quite so much, because I'm like, really, y'all didn't even search around the corner?
I was kind of I agree, but I think that's another kind of like, wait, you killed him. That seems like that, or the butterfly, I mean, because Mern, I think we both knew, was probably going to die because he's a butterfly. But killing the actual butterfly, it seems like that's the end of that. And now you undo that to have this moment with Harcourt. But as you said, I had the same feeling of like, wait, what? Like, they just left him dying? Like, I get that it makes sense that they wouldn't take him with them, because Song basically laid down the law, being like, no, like he has to die. Like, there's no way we can trust him. But that just makes me be like, why didn't you make sure he was dead? Like, why would you leave him to possibly come back after you?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's just Song's logic here was kind of sound in the sense where, like,
I don't think it's unsound logic. I just think it's weird that you wouldn't actually kill the butterfly. Make sure.
I agree. Yeah, but I mean, unless it was one of those things where it was like she added something malicious, like let him suffer.
Fair.
And I'm like, okay, that's cold. I could get behind that, in the sense where she's like he says, like, he's a warrior, like he betrayed us and all this kind of stuff. That's Song's justification. And I'm like, if he just said, like, now let him suffer, or like feel the pain of his betrayal or something to our race or something like that, like that would have been made sense to me as to why. But like it was one of those things, I'm like, that is not effectively dead. That is really weird. And it also was really weird that the butterfly chose to fly out of the head immediately. You know what I mean? I'm like,
oh no, they don't always immediately. You're right. Sometimes there's a bit of a delay.
Yeah, I'm like, nothing led me to believe that the butterfly couldn't survive in there for maybe an hour, 2, 3 tops, to find another human being to take over. But I mean, like, that butterfly would have been like, no, we got to go to the background check and find someone that's evil to do that, because that was the only way this butterfly was okay taking over someone's head.
But yeah, while they're connecting, Judo Master shows up, and they have a fight, and they beat him. They use teamwork. They beat him. I I like his entrance. Ding dong bitches. That was very funny to me.
Did you say Bing Bong or Ding Dong?
No,
Damn it!
not Bing Bong.
Because I'm like, oh, that would have been funny.
No, Ding Dong. So then he basically, I guess this is where Adebayo's like, I'm leaving. I think she calls her wife, basically being like, I'll be there in a bit. I just have to clean up. And they kind of go through it again of her being like, I'm not built for this. And Harcourt's like, that's a shame because you're really good at it. Which, if it's me, I'm thinking, yeah, this is exactly what she wanted to hear. This is she was still doing the same thing. But also, I can see how she might have genuinely just been like, oh, I wasn't expecting you to say that. That makes me feel better. Either way, it's Harcourt telling her, I think you're actually good at this, means something to her. Whether or not she was fishing for it, she got it, and it made a difference, because I think that's her beginning to be like, I think I'm gonna just stay, even though she says that later. I think that is the moment where she's like, I think I'm gonna just stay with this.
Yeah, that's where she got hooked for sure, because like this whole season, it seemed like Adebayo's looking for Harcourt's approval and a sense of belonging, right? And she finally gets it, and it means a lot to her.
I think that is one way to read it, and probably what will end up happening. My read was more, she doesn't want Harcourt, like, in the sense of like, oh, if she believes me, then it's good. I think she's just like, oh, Harcourt, as we kind of alluded to earlier, is good at reading people. She's the one that would screw this up for me if I don't get her on board.
Well, yeah, especially because it's Waller's daughter, right?
So like, I think that
she
was
could
more
go to Waller and screw it over.
It's why she was always like, Harcourt told me to do that. I like it was to throw her equilibrium. That, for me, again, I am going to write this in the chat. I guess this is my the Fantastic Four will show up in WandaVision, that I'm really just gonna hang on to every little thread of, I'm pretty sure she's just manipulating still. But I think that she has grown to like Harcourt, but I believe that her whole thing has always been, I need to get her on my side or else this all gets blown up. And unless, if she likes me, then I know I'm good. Because as Myrn kind of proved, it was like he knew everything and it still was like, doesn't matter. Like, I have a job to do, so I don't really care. Then I like this scene, which is Adebayo and Harcourt stopping Vigilante from killing the veterinarian staff. Like, it's like, it's a doctor, a nurse, and a male nurse. Like, we can see that it's two nurses. You can just say two nurses. He's like, no, because then you'd picture two women. It's like, we wouldn't, because we can see.
We can see. That was so funny. Oh my god! It's and then the fact that they're doing that commentary through Vigilante is just so funny to me. It's like, why did you have to do that?
And I do like that at this point, it's Harcourt looking to Adebayo for what to do next. This is more Harcourt being like, I hope Adebayo is okay with this decision. Like, when he's like, we have to kill him, and he gives, for their line of work, very good reasons why they have to kill, especially when he's like, well, now I really have to kill him because you just told them what my job is. Like, they gotta die. And then Adebayo's like, no, they don't have to die. And Harcourt kind of looks at her and is like, no, like, let's not. And I think she looks at Adebayo as some kind of moral compass.
I think so.
It's important. I think it's an important turning point.
I think I'm conflicted, because I always look at this, the revelation of now Harcourt knows this is Amanda Waller's daughter, and that obviously plays some sort of power dynamic, right? Because it's just like, whatever you say about me to Waller is gonna stick. Like, that is what I think in her head too. It's also the idea of like a white woman leaning on a person of color to be like, is this where I should be going, kind of deal. Like, you lead us, which is not like the worst thing, but the idea here is just like, it's a weird dynamic. Obviously, I don't think any of this should be comfortable, but
it only gets weird when Adebayo's like, she should be our leader. Unless it is a continuation of what I thought, which is getting people to do what she wants. You can have Harcourt be the leader. She can make the calls, in quotation marks, which really is just, she already knows she has Harcourt's ear now. So a lot of the stuff that needs to get done that she doesn't want to be the face of as Adebayo can happen through Harcourt now.
It's that PR piece of, and I've had this discussion with a lot of people in like education systems too, where it's like at the end of the day, when we're talking about the optics of who says what in auditoriums and everything like that, speaking about social justice, oppression, and all that kind of stuff, at the end of the day, the optics still end up being a white woman, because that's the vehicle to which a lot of people have their ears open to a lot more than, let's say, an Asian man on stage talking about oppression.
What you're describing
or
is
anything
different
else.
than what I'm saying, but I think that plays into this scene as well.
Right. Oh, I'm adding on to that in that, I guess. But yeah, it's a different thing altogether.
Yeah,
but
no, I think it's fundamentally different only because what I'm talking about is someone, I'm taking race out of it and being like someone who wants to be seen as the innocent person who we already know has an aptitude for getting things done that aren't good things.
Yep.
She's found another way to keep doing that by being like, oh, let's promote the thing. And as we talked about again, all of the perceived weaknesses she has, being a woman, being black, again, she can use that as like, obviously no one would be like, oh, Adebayo, you should be the leader. They would be like, well, of course, Harcourt. I think that's where what you were talking about plays into it, in terms of like, well, yeah, like a white woman like taking the lead. It shows that we're diverse. It shows that, but
it's got the optics.
I was thinking about it more on the level that I've been always thinking about Adebayo, which is
right.
She is a manipulator, and this is a way for her to continue manipulating, especially if she's got the right looking person carrying out the stuff she wants.
Yeah, because you're fully right to take race out of the equation. It still works to take race out of the equation, but to recognize the race in the equation also works extremely well. Yeah. It's all there. But when Adebayo does it, it's almost like to the degree of like, you take it so that if you screw up, it's on you, is how it basically is.
And all the bad decisions are Harcourt's decisions, even if they were kind of nudged in a certain direction by Adebayo.
Right. Like if we kill the cow the wrong way, or if we kill the cow and it releases a poison, whatever, and kills the world, then it's on you. It's not on me, kind of deal. But because this is a rock in a hard place, right? Adebayo recognizes, okay, I can't legitimately leave, because if these butterflies take over the world, that means I'm screwed. That means my wife's screwed, that everyone's screwed, right? Based on what they're saying. And look how widely available they are. This is the cow source. So this is how we can protect everything. So she's on board to that degree, I feel.
I think she's on board because she likes doing it. I don't think
you think so?
I don't think it's like, because realistically, if she was really just the person that ran like a doggy whatever grooming thing, and she really felt overwhelmed by all the decisions, I think she'd just be like, I'm just going to spend this time with my wife then.
That's fair.
I think she would just be like, well, whatever, like we've got like a week left, I'm going to spend it with my wife. If that, I think she genuinely likes the work. It's just she needs it. She likes it if she comes off looking a certain way,
right?
Which
like
she ceased to be doing because of this diary thing, which is why she kind of was backing off of it.
Yeah, kind of like the Karun argument in Eternals. It's like, hey, where would I go if I went home right now? I get to fight beside the Eternals. At home, I'd be watching TV. I'm staying. Like,
with
kind
I mean,
of
I
like
think
it,
the
but,
idea is that he would have nobody because
yes.
What was Camille Nanjiani's character's name again? Funny that I know Karun, but I'm like, what was his name?
I love Karun. Kingo. Yeah. I mean, because Kingo was his life. Act. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Kingo was his life. So he's kind of like, well, yeah, I'm like, what am I gonna do? So
I mean, it's different, but in this situation,
then when Kingo leaves, doesn't he just leave? He just goes, it was an honor.
Like, he just says, I'm backing off. I'm not getting, I love you all. This is not my fight. I'm getting out of it. Like, I agree with what the Eternals are doing. Who are we to question the more and more billions that would be born out of that? He sees the idea of the sacrifice. He agrees with it. I'm bowing out. Yeah. But in this, it's just like, you're right. It's totally different, but like, where would she go? The idea, like that fight.
I mean, again, I guess what I was trying to highlight is that argument only works if you're like, she doesn't have anybody.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But she does.
Right,
She
right.
just prefers doing what she's doing.
Yes. I like when she's like, I mean, she's bad, but she gets it. I'm like, did you even talk to her? Because it's clear that you haven't been consistent with that. Or when you do, it's that you're setting up an environment where she can't talk back, like calling her at night, leaving a voicemail or something like that, you know?
All right.
Which,
yeah,
could be a strategy to just let someone absorb that emotional impact and let them feel that emotion before communicating something. But it seems manipulative at this point with what she's done. Yeah, totally.
But I like that. I like that. But also, I could get proven wrong, and I'll be fine dying on that hill. It's fine with me. But yeah, we kind of just talked about it. They basically decide they're going to keep moving forward with Harcourt as the leader. I like that the staff was kind of like, yeah, we're into. I wasn't expecting that. I thought they'd just be like, oh, thank goodness they're gone. But they're like, no, we're going to do it because, as you said, like, yeah, of course, if you hear like the end of the world's coming like that, you might be like, all right, let's go do something. And they're like, no, of course not. You would just die. Go away. Like,
I love that. They were so pumped up. It's like, what? That energy shifted so fast. It was hilarious.
I like that. So then I know it doesn't happen in this order, but basically once they get to the truck, everyone's doing the thing kind of, oh no, sorry, I forgot a very important part before Adebayo says Harcourt should be the leader is she's on the phone with her wife, but then she sees Eagly hugging Peacemaker after he prays. And they flash back to when he's like, hey, if you don't want to believe in miracles, then that's on you. But she sees the miracle. So she's got Harcourt saying, hey, you're good at this. And then she's like, and like crazy things like an eagle hugging a human can happen.
And aliens, Mars attack shit.
Yeah. Which again, all plays into me being like, I think she just likes doing this job. I don't think she was like, oh, I have to do this to save my family. I think she was like, this, like I'm with people who believe in me, and like miracles are happening around me. Like, why would I go back to just hanging out with my wife?
And then I think to a degree, do you think there's an element of her making her mom happy and the being like,
No.
that's no? Okay.
Because they already had the conversation with she had the conversation with Harcourt when she's like, did you tell that Myrn was a butterfly? She's like, nah, that's kind of sitting on it, which was showing that she makes decisions outside of her mom. Like, she's not really.
Gotcha.
She said she was upset about it, but it was kind of like, you still decided not to.
Yeah, just because I can't really trust any of her dialogue as establishing her as a vulnerable, narcissistic, well, not narcissistic, but vulnerable. I don't know what the right term is, but she's playing up that vulnerability to manipulate, right? And she doesn't have it now. So like, what is she going to lean into to manipulate people? Why at this point, she's got no reason to manipulate anyone anymore, right? Everyone knows her secrets. They're on the same agenda, same mission. And then now it's like, there's nowhere to go from there, right?
So then we get back to the bus where like Peacemaker's looking at Vigilante and Eagly kind of bonding, and he's happy, and then Adebayo sits next to him, and basically he tells her like, fuck off, like we're gonna finish this mission, I'll never have to see you again, where you said we're a team, but clearly we're not. So
won't have to see her.
He's deflecting, but genuinely hurt that he thought he had a friend and a teammate who betrayed him.
Oh, totally. I mean, he and her like really connected so well. Like they trusted each other, right? Because they're both like new to the team. They can
trusted her.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, he totally trusted her.
I don't
think. Did I say they trusted each other?
Yeah.
I apologize. He trusted her heavily, and then she was just like manipulating. Right. That hurt her. Obviously, he's hurt
because as we've kind of set up the whole episode, she doesn't want to come off as the bad guy, even if she's doing bad guy things. So to be told point blank, what you did hurt me, she doesn't have anything to fall back on. Like, it's like, well, yeah, I did something that hurt someone, and they told me about it. I don't like that. That's and then we see Song setting up the teleportation for moving the cow. So they really got to get there quickly, because they'll definitely lose being able to find the cow if they set up the teleportation stuff successfully.
Mhm.
And then that's the episode, and the post credits is more of the press conference.
Yeah.
With one of the guys just laughing in the background.
That was so annoying to me.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think these are like
they're definitely
takes
not.
they were going to use. I think it was just like, oh, like, hey, here's a take we were never going to use, so just throw it in the post credits.
I get the sense that James Gunn in a lot of these scenes like just ad lib, just freestyle, do whatever you want.
He
like
didn't direct this, but
yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah, like in the scenes where it's like he's like Peacemaker is giving Economist shit for using his dad's prints instead of literally anyone else. He's just that extended scene that he goes on to just list all those other characters is hilarious. And then when he gets to Ariana Grande, where Economist is like, no, she's too innocent. Like
that's the first person he says, but yeah.
But he fights back on that.
She looks too innocent. Yeah.
She looks too innocent. Like, what are you talking? What the hell? Oh my god, it's so funny. But yeah, that scene, that one guy in the background laughing the entire time. I'm like, I get it, man, but you're not gonna get asked back to be an extra ever again. That was,
I mean, in the actual scene, he didn't do it, so I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That was chapter 7. I don't remember the name of it. Stop dragging my heart.
Stop dragging my heart around. Or
excellent.
Something.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, one more episode to go.
Yeah, we got to kill the cow. And here's my question to you. I know that they got the cow from across the galaxy to this place. What do they feed the cow to feed them? The cow just can't generate nonstop, right? It's got to eat something. What's the cow eating? I don't understand.
To me,
like that's a block for me. But I mean, like, whatever. It is whatever. If they can teleport the cow, they can teleport a food source, I guess. But yes, whatever.
Well, it's kind of how I feel.
It still bothers me.
Yeah. Sure. I'm. You can't be the only person that it bothers. Like, definitely are people out there that feel that way. I'm just not one of them. I'm just kind of like, yeah, it doesn't matter because they're probably just gonna kill the cow and it will never. Yeah, I'll never think about it again. But yeah,
or teleport them all back home, which I don't think that's gonna happen.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I genuinely don't know where it's gonna go. As I said, I was really invested in the father-son stuff, and they wrapped it up, and I thought in a good way. So this is all just icing on the cake at this point.
No, yeah, you're right for that for sure. It's the final take-home thing is: do you think Vigilante's gonna get his chainsaw moment?
No.
Okay.
I didn't think about it, but no. I think him saying that he likes the back and forth between him and Economist was how they resolved that. It's like they were building up tension, like, oh, this guy steals my stuff, and now he's so out to lunch that he thinks they're having a good time together. So
right.
But I could be wrong, and that'll be fine as well.
Yeah, he still could be the one that chainsaws the cow. But yeah, we'll see.
You could. Well, thank you very much for listening, everybody. We are part of the That Shelf Podcast Network with other great shows like Bad Game Movies, Black Hole Films, Changing Reels. So head on over there, thatshelf.com. You'll see our show, those shows, even more shows than that. So it's going to be a good time. Go ahead and do that. If you'd like to hear older episodes of our podcast, please go to tdferything.com/spoiledrotten. Our email is spoiledpodcast@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @TDFspoiled, so you can hit us up there, and we are on all sorts of podcasters like Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Radio Public. Go ahead, rate, review, subscribe, share with your friends, and if we're not where you like to get your podcast, let us know, and we will try to fix that as soon as possible.
We'll send you a carrier pigeon.
Yeah, and you can listen to it on a tape. Side A,
track.
Side B. Yeah.
A-track.
Okay, wow.
Yep. Going old school.
You might have to have a carrier hawk instead of pigeon then, but yeah. Yeah. I think we'll figure it out.
We'll get it done, Earl. I'd like to imagine your name is Earl.
Earl's listening for sure.
Yeah. Like 8 weeks later, when the A-track finally gets there.
But yeah, please get in touch with us and spread the word. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
This has been a TDF everything production, bruh.